Countdown.
Man, we are live.
We live. Look,
we are live, good people.
When I tell you, look at this. You see all this beauty on this screen. And look, for one, I ain't talking about myself. You see, y'all know I ain't talking about y'all. But y'all see below me. Y'all see below me. This queen. Ooh. Steven, you lucky. You so blessed.
I already know.
How you pull that?
Won in this.
Yes.
What kind of line did you spit, my brother? Well, you had some games,
Actually, I didn't spit any lines. I cooked.
Huh? Oh, did he really? What did he cook?
He did. He got me with fried pork chops.
Oh, girl, he got you with the swine.
He got me with the swine.
He got you with the
battle,
swine. Okay.
Deep fried.
Y'all.
Yeah.
We got a treat. We have a treat. We have a treat for y'all today. We got Miss Refined Realty in the building. Today we are talking about I am a grown-up, so why am I throwing a temper tantrum? We are going to talk about mental health. I mean, I'm telling you, I know it's something that is dear and dear to me, because I know I'll just put it out there. I know I suffer from anxiety, and I also suffer from depression. Not many people know that, since I'm always on the up, but a lot of times those of us that put on the biggest smiles and have the most joy have some of the hardest struggles, and people just don't know it. So I'll put that out there on Front Street. So Toya, tell us a little bit about you, and then I'm gonna let Steven actually control this whole interview today, because nobody probably knows you better than he does.
Not many people. I do have a disclaimer. This is an attempt to collect a debt, and just kidding. My disclaimer: I am a licensed mental health professional. I am a licensed specialist in school psychology. It's a lot of words. So the scope of my practice is providing services to children in an educational setting. However, I can provide psychological insight. We can talk about mental health. We'll be talking a lot about, what I know professionally and personally, but I just didn't want to misrepresent myself, since I do I provide services to the babies in school. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Wow.
What if I'm like 38 and still kind of like need a little help?
Yeah, because look, I deal with these two big kids on the daily. They are two big kids. Let me tell you, my brothers are just two big kids. They are overgrown children.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes,
they are.
That is a factual statement.
Yes, it is. Yes, I love my brothers, but they are kids.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So what are some of the things that you've noticed during this pandemic?
So I'm going to hit you guys with some statistics real quick. Where is my file? The National Alliance on Mental Illness published the numbers. These are 2020 numbers, just off the top of my head, because I'm having a hard time finding my files, that it's now that 1 in 5 adults have been diagnosed with a mental illness. So be that depression, anxiety, or any other, disorder that is listed in our our psychological Bible. So that's 1 in 5, and that's a 25% increase since before the pandemic began.
Wow. Wow. So it's really, the pandemic has really affected a lot of people.
It has, in a lot of different ways. I mean, the loss of life, loss of quality of life as we know it, the isolation, the fear of like, what is this? What's our future looking like? What are we going to do? Not having the resources that you need. The pandemic has really, really led to like wreaking havoc on a lot of our psychological states and mental and our well state of being.
What, I guess when it's because you and I can relate because we're mothers. They can't get it because we actually try to hold the whole nucleus together.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the struggles that you think as a woman that you have noticed dealing with even your children during this whole pandemic? Because I know, kids are just naturally, they're social beings.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some things you can share with us as parents to help with our kids?
So, like you said, as women, we want to hold it all together. We want to fix it all. We want to address every need. What I've seen with a lot of our children is the social isolation, of course. So that just looks differently, not being as involved in school. I know that's, changing, but not being as involved in school, in activities, even with your family, just things looking differently. If you're not having as many family gatherings and just socializing, period, it's just looked different. And in the age of technology, gratefully, kids are able to stay a little bit more connected than we were, back in the day when we didn't have, computers and FaceTime and all those types of things. So that is one benefit, but just that loss and just things changing as you knew it previously, and I'm having to adapt. And so the rise in depression has been prevalent with a lot of children.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about children, they're resilient. And they mask things really well. Mask things really well. And another thing about mental illness is most mental illnesses exist on a spectrum. So what depression may look like for one individual will not be what it looks like for another individual. And so like you said before, you may not realize that someone is struggling because they're smiling and they're participating, and they may be functioning at that high function level, and they keep going. They may get home and fall apart. That's what we've seen with some kids. They go and they put on this face at school, and they get home, and it's just like, where they feel safe and they fall apart. And they may or may not be exhibiting, practicing those coping skills to be able to get through things.
Yeah. I know for me personally, I think I've actually shared it with you. I know for me, I've had things personally, like a really good friend of mine. I told you, we used to check up on each other all the time. And I got so busy running around, and she just crossed my mind. And then I went to check on her, and I was like, oh, I can't reach her. And then I went back to try to find her through Facebook. And then I went on her page and went back further and found out she took her own life. In November, when I tried to reach out to her in January. And it was just the most devastating thing, which brings me to the other thing that I recently learned, that in women, African-American women now are the second, I think, or we're not the highest in the suicide rate right now. And that blew me away, because people see us as being strong Black women, and they don't understand that we have that stigma that's tied to us as being this strong, so strong, and so, able to carry all these things. And they really don't understand that we're really not. It's because society sees us that way. But underneath that, we're really vulnerable, and we really are suffering. But I think a lot of times we suffer in silence.
Absolutely.
And I think we don't, and in our culture, we're really not taught the importance of reaching out and getting outside help. I know that's something I struggle with for a long time is saying, hey, I need to reach out and get help. I need to get a therapist. I need to get a counselor. I need to go to a doctor and see about different things. Because what we're taught is to pray. And by no means am I taking strayed away from prayer because I pray daily, meditate, because you have to have that. But, you know, I believe that God gives doctors and counselors wisdom. You have to have that. Because otherwise, some people think you're just not praying enough, or you're being sinful. You know, everyone grew up with that, he's special. Everybody had that special uncle. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Everybody had that special uncle or special aunt, you know, but in reality, they were dealing with a mental illness. Now that we're older, we recognize that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's talk about that, because one of the things that has been a blessing with being connected to my wife is I've learned so much about mental health and mental space, and as she's gone through her journey through her schooling. And you've mentioned what you said, Tina, and Toya, you had mentioned how the statistics are showing that, more and more diagnoses are coming out, and more people are dealing with that. Can you talk about some of the signs to look for, or some things like that could help people kind of recognize, hey, I may be dealing with something? It's more than just a blue day, or it's more like, can you talk about that?
So, first of all, and it's one of the things about being in the pandemic has been what symptoms could be related to this pandemic, and what symptoms could be really this underlying mental illness. One of the main things is that we're isolated already. That is a major sign of depression, is when you were social before, when you were going out with your friends before, and you were, on phone calls and doing different things, and you isolate yourself. You're not answering the phone as much. You're not going out as much. Also, you're not doing things that you typically enjoy doing. So if you enjoy, like Tina, I know you love to sew, I love to read and garden. If you're looking around and you're not doing the types of things that you enjoy, that's one of the signs specifically of depression. Being tired like that, but just like that deep fatigue. So not just I need to get a good night's rest, but just this ongoing fatigue that lasts for like a couple of weeks or more. And you're noticing that no matter how much sleep you get, or that you're not feeling rested, or you're getting too much sleep, you're sleeping entirely too much. Another symptom could be losing focus and concentration. And that's a big one, because if you already have difficulty focusing and concentrating, and all of us are in this busy world and we constantly have information coming at us and we're trying to multitask, not being able to concentrate at the level that you can is a sign as well of depression. And then we'll talk about anxiety as well. So having just that constant impending fear of doom, like something is about to happen, something's going to happen. You don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But you're scared of something that's going to happen. Or doing what we call catastrophizing. And so something small may happen, but to you in your mind, it's big. And I suffer with anxiety a lot. So something little bit can happen. And to me, it's just like the sky is falling. And so that's, depression and anxiety being two of the leading mental illnesses. Those are just, a few of the different signs of both of those.
Yeah. Because I remember the first time I had a panic attack. I was expecting Gabriel, and that's when I never had a panic attack before. And I just ran downstairs and ran out of the porch. I was thinking, oh my God, I gotta get out of the house. I gotta get out of the house. And I didn't know what was happening. And I was having a panic attack. And I never had one before in my life. And I'm telling you, it was the scariest thing. And then I remember one time I actually had to go to the hospital. I was in the hospital for 3 days because they thought I was having a heart attack. And it was actually a panic attack. I was having a panic attack. Yeah. And they literally thought I was having a heart attack. Now, I did have some heart issues, and they had to go and have that checked out and all that good stuff. But there was a couple of times that it was actually a panic attack.
And thank you for bringing that up. So the mimicking, so that shortness of breath, that tightness in your chest, that feeling like something heavy, is sitting on you, are all signs of a panic attack, which, can mimic a heart attack as well. And one of the things about our mental health is that it is directly linked to our physical health. And so when we leave things unchecked, when we don't address our stress levels, when we have burnout and we're not coping, we can develop physical conditions as well. So Yeah.
And I think that's what people need to understand is that it will turn into, people think that it's just in your mind, but it actually does manifest into physical things. Hey, Jonathan, it manifests into physical ailments and things. It really does.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're directly related. Absolutely.
And people will discount it and not understand the severity of it. And I probably was one of those people earlier on because I didn't understand it. But now that I'm someone that's dealing with it and has seen people that deal with it, I actually understand it and I take it very, very seriously. Now, I probably don't do as much as I should because I kind of run, y'all know me, I kind of run myself down in the ground for some things. Thanks. I think you have a lot to do with my brother saying, whoa, pump your brakes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't call me like you used to. And I think you probably got a little probably said, whoa, don't put all that on. Hold your brakes. He'll say, no, you can't get to it. Don't worry about it, sis. That's what he'll say.
Yeah.
But it does, because you just kind of think we would stretch ourselves just like a rubber band, but it'll only go so far before you actually snap. Because I literally have found myself pulling over on the side of the road and just bawling.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know why you're bawling. You have no idea why you're crying.
Yeah.
But it's just like everything crashes down on you.
Yep.
I got a question. Since you specialize in the school age kids, what do you determine or how do you know the difference between a teenager or a preteen acting out and just going through like emotional things and being depressed? How can you determine the difference?
So the question is, how do you determine the difference between them acting out and whether or not it's like a diagnosable like mental illness?
Right. Normal teenager behavior.
Okay.
That's a good question.
The severity, honestly. And then just looking at circumstances. So looking at, is my child being triggered by something in particular? And then I'm seeing these behaviors. That's the biggest thing, because everything has a root. Everything has a root. And so we understand, of course, teenagers, we say they're moody and, they can be unpredictable. And some of that is going to be true because of, hormonal changes and puberty and, just different types of things. But really and truly, it's the level of severity. Being on the lookout for those triggers, watching for those behavior changes, and really and truly watching what their mannerisms are. And that's just, that's the hallmark of psychology, is observing behavior. And so that's a lot of what it is. It's just observing to see what changes with different coping skills as well. So if you have a child who you think that may be depressed, and like I said, they stop doing things that they typically enjoy doing, you're trying to get them to apply some coping skills. You're saying, okay, let's go out and do some different things. Let's go take a walk. Let's get involved in some activities, and do some things that you don't see that anything is improving, then it may be a sign that you need to seek some more, another level of assistance, like some therapy or perhaps a psychiatrist or something.
Okay.
Wow. Because I know with Heartthrob. Y'all know Heartthrob. I tell you, I
love Heartthrob.
Woo! Heartthrob, y'all. Heartthrob. See, he threw me yesterday. He got in the car and he apologized. I was like, see, that's a new tactic.
He learned it.
He threw me. That was a new tactic, girl. See, after what? See, it's I'm telling you, y'all, he plotting. I'm telling y'all, he boy plotting on me. I'm telling you. But it's difficult because that generation seems to be different. Because Mike, that's a really good question. Because I know when Lafayette was in school, the teacher, they always want to diagnose a lot of these kids, and you never know what the difference is between, if it's really ADD and all these other things they say these kids having going on, or if it's just normal child behavior. So she was saying, oh, he has ADD. And I said, no, he don't have ADD. He got BAD, and we're going to fix it when we get home.
Right.
So that's, but they so quick to try. So I get what Mike is saying. So like with Heartthrob, they tend to want to isolate themselves anyway. So I don't know, a lot of times, how do you try to communicate with your child, especially now? A lot of mothers have this issue, especially with this generation. They tend to get to themselves a lot.
They do. They do. And
So
it's up to
what would you recommend that we do as parents? Because they isolate themselves naturally.
They do. They do more so than us. And I mean, with our kids,
Yes,
we are, you know, we respect their privacy, but at the same time, we in your business.
exactly.
Like we are in your business. Um,
Yes.
one of the biggest things with children and them being allowed to have technology, them being able to have their phones and different things, is that as parents, we still have to monitor who they're talking to, what they're watching, making sure that it's age appropriate. And we tell our 12-year-old, this is our phone, this is our cell phone, and it is subject to search and seizure at any time, and we can go through anything.
I like that.
Yeah, and because you never know. A lot of it, I think, is to having conversations about what is appropriate for them to do, because like you say, they are isolating, and it matters what they're doing when they're isolated. Them understanding that they have a level of trust is important, but I think as parents, it is finding that balance between I trust you, I know you're growing up, but I still need to be aware of things and in your business. And then also just finding those that quality time, that time to talk. There's the best time to do a lot of things. And I've had to learn that. And sometimes, say our middle son comes home and he's had a bad day, and I can see it on him when he gets in the car and he gets in, he's like, yeah. He's like, how's your day?
That's Gabriel. Yeah.
So it's like, I know at that time, okay, maybe he doesn't want to talk at this time. So I had to learn to not force him before he was ready. And then later on, he might be more, it's like, okay, do you want to talk about your day now? And just, giving them the time to process their own emotions and feelings, and knowing that they can trust you with that information. And I think that gradually they learn that they can come to you, and you can listen and those things. And that's something we have to learn as parents too, is how to listen and not be so ready with.
I got a question for Mike, because see, we have boys. Right. Mike has a daughter. He has a son, but he has a daughter. And I know with boys, it's different than parenting a girl. So Mike, and you get to see the differences, Mike. So what's the differences that you notice between parenting a boy and a girl when it comes to something like that? With your son's small, but what's some of the differences?
So I'll say this: she hit it on the nose, and I need to get better at practicing what she just said. When you notice something going on with your child, and you being concerned, and you ask, "Hey, what's up? What's the deal? What's going on?" Yeah, and they're not ready to talk about it. Right. Me, I'm an over communicator, right? So I want to talk it out, talk all the way through from what happened first, then what happened, then what happened, then what happened, then what happened, then what happened. Here's the solution. That's not the right way to go about it. I found that out the hard way, because what they'll do is they'll tell you whatever they need to tell you to make you shut up. You know what I mean? Yeah. They'll give you the answers that they think you want to have in order to end the conversation. Well, that's why my daughter is, because she kind of smart. She get it from her dad. She's slick. She can read. She's slick. She can read a room, and she can say, "Okay, how do I best get out of this situation for them to get, so I can be done with this?" And it's one of two things: she either gonna throw a fit, pout, shut up, and move around, or she gonna give me the answer that she think is the best answer for the conversation, so it can be finished, right? Yeah. So what I've learned is, I just had a big episode not last weekend, but the weekend before last. We had a big old family ordeal. But well, let me take that back. It wasn't that big, but it could have been bigger than what it was had I not addressed it, and the other people involved kind of behaved the way they behaved. Because I'm a dad, right? But first thing first, that's my number one job, is to be a dad, right? Yep. So that's my most important job, I feel like. So I came in hot. Coming
in hot.
I already know.
Coming in hot.
I came in hot, but because of being able to be aware of the circumstance and the people around you, the way they were handling it was a lot better than what my initial reaction would have been. And I was like, oh, okay. This is kind of working. Like, I'm getting what I need to get. as opposed to rah, 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 rah,
Mm-hmm.
super tough dad, right? So I mean, I think I'm continuing to learn, and I watch my kids. I watch everybody around me. I talk a lot and I joke around, but when it comes down to paying attention to my
Better.
peace of mind and the folks around me peace of mind, I pay attention to them because they will show you what they want
Mm-hmm.
better than they'll tell you what they want. They'll tell you one thing, but they'll definitely show you in their actions and their mannerisms and their excitement, and they're not so excited about certain things. They'll definitely tell you. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, they'll like without words, they'll show you exactly what makes them tick,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to be you have to pay attention. Like
You
you
gotta pay
literally have
attention.
to
You
sit back,
do.
You
shut
gotta
your
pay
mouth,
attention.
and pay attention
Yeah.
to what what they are showing you in
Mm-hmm.
order to know how to best handle them. To
Well,
to help them enjoy life and be happy or
right.
have
Well,
happy moments.
Jonathan had some good suggestions because I guess he's got a daughter. He said girls are a whole different subject. And then he said, take them to the movies, grab something, talk to them. He said, even go outside and throw a ball. And then I want to say, hey, to Kiana, because she joined us too. And that's a good point. I guess basically, just have an activity. And Mike, I'm bad about that too, because I'll push the issue. Because the first thing that comes in me, I'm like a cougar when it comes to my kids. I'll be like, will somebody do something to you?
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
I'm already said go.
But
I got my purse ready, throw it up on my arms. You
that
somebody
comes from
bullying
upbringing
me.
though.
I don't care who it is.
That ain't necessarily personality traits. That's you were taught that. We were taught that. That's come from
We were.
upbringing.
You
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were taught that. So we
Yeah.
had to make adjustments by watching other people be successful with raising their children. Right. So I agree with Jonathan with spending time,
Yeah.
going to the gym, walking down at the park, or walking through the mall, or going to the movies. All that is very, very good because that's when you get the most information, intel from the relationship because they're more open to sharing with you because they're comfortable, right? And that's their happy space. They happy with you. You're spending time, and it
Yeah.
don't take much. For my daughter, it don't take much, man. I can go. Her love language is tennis shoes. She just like her daddy, right? Her, her love language is shoes. So if we talking shoes and we go to a shoe store or we looking online to shop for shoes, um, we can talk because that's her trigger. Oh, I'm about to give me some shoes. Let me go ahead and chop it up with daddy. You know what I mean? And that's
Toya
what.
got some questions. Excuse me, Mike. Toya got some questions. We got some questions for you. We got Kiana, who says she's got 3 boys that are knuckleheads and she struggles with that. So she can relate. But Jonathan says, he asked, do we just let them talk and listen without offering a solution? He said, because that's something he struggles with. And or he's trying to solve the problems. He says, but he's learning with his girls. He says sometimes he just wants them to listen. So he says, does he let them talk and just listen? What does he do?
I would suggest asking them, are you looking for a solution or do you just want me to listen? Children love to be empowered. They love to be empowered and to feel like they have a voice and to feel like they have a say in things. I think a lot of times, of course, y'all mentioned us coming up. We didn't have that. It was do as I say, do. There was not always, at least I know my upbringing, there wasn't always a feeling of I can communicate, how I feel. So I think asking whether or not are you looking for advice? Are you looking for a solution, or do you just want me to listen? And so them feeling empowered. Well, I'm in a space where I know Daddy's going to listen to me, and he's just listening to me, and being intentional with that. And that's could be a hard road to step out of, because the minute you hear something, that ooh, I have a solution for that, or I have a suggestion for that, that may not be what they're looking for. Now, as you continue to do that, then that builds trust, and they can come back to you later, and maybe you can change the flow of the conversation to, okay, well, do you mind if I give you a suggestion, or I had a thought about this? And so there can be things that you follow up that I think giving, especially our teenagers, that respect to, I've heard what you said, I've processed it, And I'm giving respect to, you know, what you're looking for, what you need from me, because what we think they need versus what they need is not, you know,
not the same.
it's not the same.
Different.
Can I add something real quick?
Mhm.
What I've learned in this whole thing is they will give themselves the answer. When I've learned how to shut up, because through talking it out, they'll talk and they hear themselves saying stupid stuff, because teenagers in their age, they haven't matured yet. But they'll hear the stupid comment or the not so sharp comment that they make, and they'll put it in their pocket. They may not admit to it right then and there, but they'll hear it. If you just let them talk it out, they'll say things that doesn't even make sense to them. And then, and when they hear it, and you say, you know, you just let them keep going. They heard it. They may not. And kids, just like us adults, those children are prideful, right? We prideful because we could be wrong as all get out, and we won't admit to it right then and there. But we didn't talk ourselves through a solution too. So they do the same thing. They do the same thing that we do, us as adults, because of the way we were raised. Is do as I say, not as I do. But if we start showing them the way to do it, we'll get a better solution out of it, and they're gonna make mistakes.
Now you made a really good point on that, Mike. One thing that I learned, and you know, for those that know me, we have 5 boys. 2 of them are. It's a weird place right now because they're grown, but they're not. But I came from the, you know, slap them and ask questions later era. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I was raising my older ones when they were younger. But, you know, after learning more and more about that and obviously input from my wife, I began to ask questions and talk more. And just like you said, Mike, having the conversation and having them work through the entire process, a lot of times they are working and giving themselves the answers. And I've seen that, you know, resonate with my 2 older ones. And as we, you know, raising the 3 younger ones as well, we're starting to see that as well, where, I mean, like I said, I was handing out, I know we live, but ass whoopings. But, you know, I don't think I've raised a hand in years. When it comes to the other ones. So it's a learning process. We always talk about, you know, parenting is there's no book out on it. Every kid is different. I, you know, the way I talk to my oldest is not the way I talk to Junior. It's not the way I talk to my middle. It's not the way I talk to, you know, my 12-year-old. All of them have their own little things that are buttons that I press when I'm talking to them.
And it's true, because even with my 2, they're 10 years apart, but Gabriel is so different from Lafayette. Lafayette would be, like you said, you could do the discipline, spanking and whatever. Gabriel, if I were to spanking would not phase heartthrob. That's not what hurts heartthrob. He'll take it and be like, oh, okay, all right, woo. You know, I was so, look, we candid. Y'all know this is us. We family on. We all family up here. These are my brothers and my sister here on the phone. I tell y'all, I squared up to him one night. Y'all thought it was Holyfield and Ali going up in that room. I was squared. I was like, come on. Girl, I squared up, had him in that corner. I was bobbing and weaving. He said something. You should see me. I was going in, boy. And he this tall over me, but I'm like, you tested me, you tried me, you went there.
They'll take you there.
He took me there. He took me to that place, y'all. But afterwards, you know, that doesn't work for him. So I had to find out what works for him, and it's him losing privileges. That's what bothers him losing his phone, him being grounded. And really, he doesn't like to see me be upset with him. That bothers him when I'm disappointed in him. You wouldn't think it does, but it does bother him. I think it bothered him because I was texting him yesterday after he got out the car, telling him, you know, how I was disappointed in him. And I was like, you know, I didn't like your tone when you got the car. And when he got in the car, he apologized at the end of the day. So I said he thought about that all day. And he said, you know, when I get in the car with my mom, I'm going to apologize to my mom at the end of the day. So you're right. It's different. But then you look at how we were raised. And like you said, we didn't talk back. We didn't ask questions. We did what we were told. But at the same time, do you think that may have kind of stifled us a little bit? Because then we try to revert back to the way we were raised. Right. But it doesn't work for this generation.
No. It doesn't.
It doesn't. They're different. You know, so then our parents kind of look at us like, y'all, I don't get this new age rate. You know, they're telling us new age. We didn't talk to you. We didn't do all that talking. My mama tell you real quick, I don't do a whole lot of talking. And she don't do a whole lot of talking.
Yeah.
I will tell you.
Yeah.
But
I'm still scared of my mama, but she don't do a whole lot of talking.
Look, this is my take on it too. Let me give you my take on it, because Toya, like you've studied this stuff. Me as a teenager, as a young boy, I stayed in trouble. When I say stayed in trouble, I'm talking about real trouble. Not going to the principal office, not staying outside longer than you're supposed to. I mean, real trouble. I stayed in trouble. And I'll tell you this. A lot of times it's because when I spoke, people didn't hear what I was saying.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? And then also, when you, apart from your parents and your security blanket and other adults, the way that the culture is you got to respect authority even when they being disrespectful. You know what I mean? And now kids know. Like, we knew what the CPS was, but now these kids know what CPS does. They don't know. Not only do they know who they are, they know what they do, what their role is. So us, man, ain't no way we was calling CPS on our mom. We can throw it out there and get another ass whooping. You know what I mean? Ain't no way. But now, if a kid say CPS, there's a big indication that they really gonna call them folks.
They will, and know the number.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So with being a parent and being a responsible parent, in order to keep your family together, you gotta pay closer attention, and you gotta understand their love language, and that means that you have to become a better parent. You got to be a better, more efficient parent now than before. Before, they could just love hard, right? And that's what that's what those whoopings were, and those were what those punishments were. That was tough love. They were loving us the best way they knew how. But now you gotta get in your bag a little bit with your love, because they understand that they have value. They understand that they need to be respected. They understand that they need to be heard. They understand that they have emotions. They understand that respect is required. Like, they require respect too from adults. They don't necessarily require respect from their peers, but from adults, from a child to an adult, they want to receive just as much respect as they give. And that's why you can see one kid misbehave with another person and act like a saint with the other person, because the other person, they have a relationship.
They disrespect them.
Yeah, it's all about relationship.
But it's funny we're talking about this, y'all, and I don't know what happened. It's, I guess, something that apparently happened at DeSoto school or some school where they had something that happened. I just saw some posts. But how in the world, what do you say to parents, Toya, that come to you and say, well, see, when you don't have that discipline and you do a bunch of talking, this is what you have. You have these unruly children and students. But I think, Mike, you said it best. It starts with the parent.
It starts with an adult.
It starts with an adult. Okay.
It starts with an adult. It's not necessarily the parent, because it's all adults. I mean, the kids, like, my wife worked at the school, Toya worked at the school. What the mama say? Well, he don't act like this at home. Oh, they don't do this at home. And they probably don't do that at home. And
the expectations, the consequences, everything is different.
And they know you care about them because you with them, and like they have this sense of safety, and they know consequences. At school and outside of their home life, they only got a few select people that they really feel they trust, they can rely on. So that's why when one kid gets kicked out of the classroom, they know exactly what classroom to sit them in. Right? Because every kid don't get kicked out and sent to the same classroom. They get sent to a specific person because that person has a relationship with them, and they can de-escalate the situation. That's respect.
Now, I learned that while coaching Little League football, Mike. When I was coaching the older boys back when they were in Little League, a lot of those kids were from single mother families, right? And the mothers would come to us as coaches, no matter what level that we were on, because of the relationship that we had with their sons, and the respect level that they have for us as coaches, and the fact that this was more of an escape, and they loved doing being with us on that field. If there was a disciplinary problem or education problem, a lot of the mothers came to us and like, hey, can you help? And that's what I loved about shouts out to the A-Leaf Titans. That was one of the biggest things that we did. We showed up at the schools as coaches. Or after practice, come holler at me for 15 minutes and we're gonna take care of some stuff. And we were used as disciplinarians a lot of times, I don't know what 6-7 years I was doing, I was coaching. And again, those relationships, and it was more than just disciplinary. I mean, a lot of my students would come up to me with their report cards. Coach, you gotta see, I turn that C into an A,
affirmation.
Or like, hey, the mom come like he got an F. We talking to the side. I like this needs to be a B by the time the 6 weeks is over. And they doing it because, like you said, Mike, it's the level of respect and the love that they have. And again, these are just kids that I were with 4 or 5 days a week when it comes to practice and games, but it was a relationship.
This is such a great topic. Let me just say this real quick. If for those of you that are watching, if y'all think some people would benefit from this, please share, because we got some great questions. We got a really good one from Kiana, because this is something I struggle with too, Kiana. She wants to know, what do you think about let's see what it says. What do you think about maintaining that balance between having a strong relationship with them and being too much of their friends? How do you maintain that balance? That's a good question, Toya, for you. How do you do that?
That's a good question, and I will say that I am no leading expert in that topic, because this is a live in progress situation with raising our kids as well, and something that we're learning. So I really think it all goes back to the way that you choose to communicate and what you choose to communicate. And so there's a way to communicate to your child that, I'm here for you. I'm here to protect you. I'm here to listen to you, without being too over involved, and being appropriate. So what I think we have to remember is that our children, no matter what age they are sponges. They are soaking up every single action that we make, everything that we say, our habits, everything that we do. And they look to those things to figure out like the boundaries, just kind of what I can get away with, or what I can do, or what I can say. I think that creating boundaries with children is huge. So not only the boundaries in your relationship with them, but boundaries in the way that you are seen, and the way that that you're treated as well. And that's going to look different for everyone. That I think that's just figuring out like what those boundaries are.
I think it looks, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's different for each child too.
It is, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I'll tell you, for me and my daughter, we have a really close relationship, I would say. I mean, most of the time. Yeah, most of the time. And I'm extremely friendly with her. Like, I treat her like a real person. I don't treat her like a daughter. I love her like she's my daughter, but I treat her like a person, right? And I'm intentful on that, because I remember when my kids were 1 and 2, I used to talk to them the same way I speak to them today. And I was like, why you talk to them like that? I said, because one day they're gonna grow up and be a person. They're gonna, and they know how to communicate, because they see us communicating, and we don't talk to each other the same way that most people talk to kids. So why would we do that? Like, we watering it down. So because of that, now me and my daughter can have real candid conversations. You know what I mean? And she can say, well, Daddy, I don't agree. or she can walk by and pop me in the back of my head and know she's not gonna get a butt whooping. You know what I mean? Because she knows, okay, I love my dad and my daddy love me, and he know I'm not being disrespectful. So I'm gonna come by and pop him because I know based on our relationship that he gonna get up or he gonna throw a sock at me and we gonna laugh and we're gonna go on with our day. I ain't nowhere in the world I would have popped my mama. You know what I mean? and me and my mama have a real good relationship, but there's no like that wasn't there. Now we could crack jokes, but like the strength of our relationship was not that way.
Right.
And my daughter, because I built a relationship like that, and I intentionally did it because I know once she gets older, when real life start kicking in, I want her to be able to say, okay, let me go holler at my daddy.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my 2 cents.
I know we've been talking about kids a lot and our kids. I want to kind of shift the focus towards us as professionals.
So
let's go.
Hey,
well, we love our kids.
So many
right?
people want to know about these kids. It's amazing because I think that's something we struggle.
Yeah. Well, well, the reason why I wanted to shift because I know we have a lot of professionals that watch our
yes,
show.
we do, and these are really professionals answering these questions.
They all got to raise their kids too.
They're struggling with these kids.
They got to raise their kids. It's a balance between being a entrepreneur and a parent. That's a strong. It's different from being a 9-to-5 worker and being a parent than being an entrepreneur and being a parent because time looks different. Responsibility look different. The pressure that the entrepreneur is under to make sure they make money to provide for their kids is different. So, Stephen, you hitting on something. Go ahead. What's your question? What you thinking?
I mean, that is the biggest thing because I know my wife is always on me because I'm a workaholic. And she will tell you, she'll come slap a phone out of my hand. It's like, nah, you done for the day. And that's something that's hard for me, especially because I'm always trying to take care. I'm like, there's always in my mind, there's always something for me to do. If I'm not doing it, then I'm behind, or somebody else is gonna beat me to it. I hate to say talk to them how you talk to me because
no, they don't want that.
Yeah, I'm saying
you have that. I don't have that. I don't have it. It's just me. So I work on like nonstop. So it's crazy for me, but it's good to have that. Go ahead.
No, I was saying that they don't want. I have to reclaim my time over here. No, but I think whether or not you have a partner, we all have to know what our boundaries are and know how to take care of ourselves. And so that's recognizing those signs of burnout, those signs of stress, those signs of you're going, you're exhausted, you can't concentrate as much as you like you usually do, you're irritable, you're frustrated. And I know that I get that way sometimes with my family, and so I realize when something else is affecting me, my whole entire countenance changes with everyone. But it's something that I have to stay aware of because I may not have him or someone else to come and say like, hey, you need to get yourself together. You have to learn how to self-correct and how to check yourself. And a question that I ask myself when I find myself getting frustrated, I'll stop and I'll ask myself, I'll say, what do you need? And that takes a level of introspection just to say, what do I need right now? Sometimes I just need to go outside and sit in the sun. Sometimes I need to say no to some things or back off some things. Sometimes I just need a good 5-10 minutes of peace and quiet by myself. But I think that just, regardless of what your situation is, it's just learning whatever that level is of what you need in that space and time so that you can prevent getting completely and totally burned out.
Wow.
Yeah. I know one of the biggest things to me that has helped me from burnout because, I go through that where I'm going, and then she'll my body shuts down on me and I'm just out of there for a day or so. One of the biggest things for me is the hard shut, what I call the hard shut off, where at about 7:00, I'm not in front of the computer anymore. I may answer a text message or a phone call if it's important, but I'm not locked in, and I'm trying to give the family their time, trying to give her time. But I still struggle with that. I mean, she'll tell you sometimes, like I said, she'll be like, "No, it's 7:03, sir. I need to go."
I need to get better at that. That's something I can get better at.
Yeah,
cut it down.
That video will be out tomorrow. So,
yeah.
And the other thing too that I'm trying to learn to do is find the outlet beyond work. Something that is not. And I know me and Mike struggle with this all day because we always thinking about, hey, there's an idea, something that we can do to make money. So we're always thinking about, game plans and new, income streams and stuff like that. But actually doing something that's not involving work or making money.
And it doesn't seem like work for you all. Like you tell me all the time, making the videos and the things. I know, Tina, you are super duper creative, and the things that you do, it cannot feel like work. I know, but it is work. It still is.
I know it's work.
It's very, very, very much work. And Steve's just like, this is what I'm doing, and I'm just like, no, let's come up with a hobby. Let's come up with something else that is feeding your soul and bringing you joy and an outlet besides something that is directly tied to your job.
Right.
Even though
I feel bad because I know I'll be texting and calling after 7 o'clock. I'm sorry. I'll be texting and calling both of y'all after 7 o'clock. I feel bad.
You know what?
Okay, I know my cutoff time now. I won't be calling and texting.
Yeah, don't feel bad. We have to go through the weeknight shuffle over here. So it turns into, dinner homework, and we got the reading log, the never-ending reading log of the books.
Yeah, family don't count though, right? That don't apply to me though. No. 7 p.m. rule don't apply to me.
It didn't apply to you. Not at all.
That's why I didn't think it did. That don't apply to me, Stephen.
Well, you know what I was going to say? Y'all said something very important. Like, I've noticed that most adults don't have hobbies. And if they do have hobbies, they don't consist of anything outside of drinking alcohol.
I have hobbies. You have a hobby too, don't you?
I mean, no, I don't. Like, I love certain things, but it's not something that I do regularly. Like sometimes you see on television shows where the guys go out and play basketball on Sunday mornings and things like that. But what I've noticed is people that I see that's hanging out and doing time away from their kids, it's almost always seems like they got like a drink. It's a social drinking environment or something like that. It's not, I don't see a lot of people that just go off into their little corner and paint or go off and sew. I mean, it may happen, but for me, I don't have nothing like that I do at home or that I get away from. It's all work and the kids and the family, I should say. That's it. And I mean, I love exercising, but
that's what I was gonna say. I know you work out.
That's a job now because you're fat. Exercising when you're fine and exercising when you're fat is two different things.
You say it's a job now because you're fat. Do you say that? Did you really say that?
It's two different things, though.
No, that is self-care and self-preservation.
Right. It's no longer fun.
Oh man, I can't believe he said that.
Because you have to do it is the end goal. Yeah. It's I don't know. I kind of see the opposite. I have, and maybe it's just because of the different our differences in our friends and who we know or whatever. Like gardening became an outlet for me. And so when I started, I realized I had more friends than I thought that like to garden as well. And so it became like a community and a different kind of hobby for me. But like you guys, I do kind of struggle sometimes. I love to read. I love to read. Stephen is there's books constantly coming to the house.
Oh my God.
He's just like, it's books. I do not read all of those books all the time.
It's not just books.
Listen.
Oh, you're like Amazon. Look, you need to get the Scribe. Let me tell you this. And
don't
tell me about Scribe.
I told you Scribe is amazing. I love to read. And see, you're going to have to go. I'm so glad the pandemic's over because we can start back with our book club. It's not going to be the same because Mr. Julius used to make everyone. But we used to meet over at Chocolate Secrets. We had a little book club that we did. Mr. Julius was part of it. And we met at Chocolate Secrets. Once a month, we pick a book, we read it, and we'd all meet over there and have our chocolate and go over the book. So I'm definitely going to be getting you involved. And see what you said. You just mentioned something when you talk about the depression and stuff. I love to sew. I love to sew. I love to sculpt and do jewelry, and I haven't been doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to get back. And Sophia, when she said you have to take time for you, I need to do that.
Oh yeah.
And I know Charlamagne said she loves to sing. And also I want to make sure Kiana said great. She said that was good. The suggestions you had about just taking time out. This is just helping a lot of people. So even just listening to this, I'm like, you know what, this weekend, I'm going to make it a point to set some time aside because I'm always working on the weekends, like 7 days doing something, just to get back in my sewing room and sew because I love it. And it relaxes you.
Mm-hmm.
It really relaxes you.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to get back to doing my hobby. Mike, we're going to find you a hobby. You want to come over and help me sew? I got to make about 2-3 skirts.
Now, you know, I got to shake your hand. I don't have a steady hand.
Steven, any takers? Hey. Y'all come help me sew. I'm going to teach a sewing class. Sis, you want to learn how to sew? I got you.
Absolutely want to learn.
I got 5 sewing machines, y'all. I got 4 of them packed up. Seriously.
I absolutely. Count me in. I'd love to learn.
I'm serious. So, I mean, I love sewing. And I haven't done it in almost, I know, a good, since that prom with the feathers.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the feathers.
I remember that dress. Yes.
Yeah. But I need to get back doing it because it was my outlet.
Mm-hmm.
I got a task for you. I got a young, handsome 3-year-old that I like to dress a little differently than everybody else. So if you want to make a little blazer or a little Ivy League sweater, cardigan, I'll gladly.
Oh, wait, hold on, right? There has been a challenge in the comments. So, Sophia, I'm going to take you up on that because I'd like to play dominoes myself.
Me too. So, wait a minute.
Anytime you want to get this work, clock in.
Hold on. Who? I play dominoes. Who is that throwing out some? What?
Sophia wants. She made a suggestion to Mike. Said, "Game
all right.
Night. It's so fun." She said, "I would." No, but she challenged. Cool. She said, "I would tear y'all up in some dominoes."
Who said
Game
that?
Night.
Sophia.
Bet, girl. Philly. Come on.
Challenge accepted. We will make that happen
on the table.
Yes, ma'am. Oh yeah.
Look at she put in all caps. And, girl, you don't want none of these bones. What you talking about? I'm from the country. We play on the shade tree where the men sitting up there with the brown bags. What you talking about? And you know what they got in the brown bags.
Just like that.
Just like that. That's what I'm talking about. What you talking about?
Just like
look
that.
Make sure Jackson's there. She said Jackson there. He's a hype man.
Oh, Jackson.
Yeah, we got Jackson there.
Hey, Jackson love him some Sophia.
Hey, Jackson won. Jackson won.
We got you. Okay, bet. Okay. I got my look. Bring my own dominoes. I got 2 sets up in here. I got my daddy's set. All right.
But
it's okay. That's how it's gonna be. We got teams.
I just wanted to say, but it's the things that just are simple as that. Just getting back to the things that bring you joy. And I challenged a friend recently to list the things that made her happy. I was like, just make a list. Make a list of all of the things that you like to do, that you enjoy doing, because when your state of mind changes, whether you're dealing with, depression or anxiety, or, just having an off day or something, sometimes it can be hard to remember those things. Like, what do I enjoy? How do I identify, and what things do I like to do?
Mm-hmm.
So you can always have like a baseline. I said it's a baseline of these are some things that make me happy, and then you get to it.
And I will also say some things too. Actually look outside of the scope that you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's times where Toya comes up with these vacations that we go to, and y'all know she has me in the wilderness. I call it her taking me to the wilderness. We had a family vacation that I didn't think I was going to enjoy. It was when we went to that little spot in outside of Conroe.
The cabin.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the cabin! I saw that.
And it was just us and our boys.
Yes,
and everybody turned their phones off. We're playing board games. We're out playing. We're jumping in lakes. stuff that if you would have told me that's what we're going to be doing, I'm like, man, I ain't got no time for that. But that was one of the most refreshing times for me, and sometimes where we were able to just reconnect with our sons and reconnect with our family. And like I said, that was something that was out of my scope. Because at first when she told me, I'm like, it is what it is. I was doing it because she wanted to do it. But it ended up being one of the greatest times with our family that I can remember. Like I said, I would love to go back.
It's in where Conroe?
She would have to check.
I'm going to get that information from you.
I'm going to get that information for you. It's I think it's the Retreats at Artesian Lakes is the name of it. Yeah. And so it's they have cabins and a camping ground as well, and just different amenities. But it was the best place to unplug, and I made him limit the time that he worked. And it was just, we were able to just reconnect. But it's an awesome place to go to reconnect with nature and yourself and your family and your loved ones. And
I got that. You know what, Toy? I know you don't want to do this, but we had to lose Mike. Mike had a 12 o'clock, y'all. He had to get to. But Toy, you're going to come back. We have so many people that had comments, questions.
Yeah.
I told you though, this is so neat because I want to even dabble into because we didn't really talk about as mothers dealing with being busy in real estate and dealing with teenagers and kids. I really want to talk about that. And I want to pull in some more ages. Kiana, are you still with us? If she's still there, I wish she could come in. Sophia, I know she's probably got some closings and stuff, but I would really love to even get some guest panelists on here so we can really have a talk with you and pick your brain, because you've given us some great tips and just some insight on how we can actually deal with even just our kids. I mean, what? Look at this, Melissa. Hey, Melissa, I'm so glad. She said, love this, y'all. This topic needs to be extended. I agree, Melissa. That's exactly what I said. It does. It needs to be extended.
We might have to break this into sections.
I'm telling you, it's so good. It's so good.
Your kids, yourself, and your
I want to bring some people to, I'm telling you, Toya, you have, just for me, just on the sister level, when we get to visit. I know you called me one day, I just broke down crying on the phone. You're like, wait a minute, what is it? I bet Steve was sitting in the seat like, what's going on? Guys.
See, now I was about to go my way to you. I was just like,
you're like, what's going on? You don't do it.
All right.
I know she's just been a blessing to me. So I think a lot of people need this. And Melissa, you're right. We're going to extend this. So anybody that would love to be on this panel, inbox me, please, because I think it's such a great topic, because it's just something that we struggle with and nobody talks about it. Not in our community.
We didn't talk about therapy as well. We didn't get to touch as
much.
No,
and we didn't talk about that, but I'm going to talk about that because I know I have a wonderful therapist, a counselor, and I tell people, you need it. You need it. And we don't talk about it, but it helps. It really does help. So I'm gonna let Stephen be the one to take us out, and I would love for you to come back if you look.
I will. I enjoyed myself. You know, I know you look nervous. You had to convince, but I've enjoyed it, and I'm glad it's beneficial for everyone.
Oh my gosh! Everybody's telling me how good this information was, and it's just been so helpful. And you just never know how many people struggle with it, and nobody says anything. It's like nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
But it needs to be talked about and put on a platform in Front Street. So this has just been great. Melissa said she would love to talk. She's a mom of 6. Melissa, I'm going to inbox you. And she said, I definitely needed this. See?
Oh, good. Good, Melissa. Okay, let's come back. Let's do it.
We're coming back. Melissa, I'm going to inbox you. She's a mortgage lender and wife of a realtor, etc. So she got it all. She on the lender side.
Yes,
and she getting it from
all sides. Oh yeah, you need it. Yeah. You need it, Melissa. Yeah, I understand. Wife of a realtor, etc. She said, I need this. Yes. She understands. The struggle is real.
It is real.
It's real. So we're going to do it. Stephen, you go ahead, close us out.
Well, this has been the Synergy Syndicate with my sister Title Tina, my brother Michael Chapman, the astute home advisor, and our special guest, my baby.
Yes, my
Latoya
gorgeous
Thomas. We've been
sister.
talking about all aspects of mental health. We've been talking about our kids and how to talk to them. We've been talking about how to take care of ourselves. Obviously, we're going to continue this conversation. We hope that you guys tune in to us. And if you are watching this on not in the live aspects, please continue to comment below. Give us questions that you want us to address, or inbox myself, Title Tina, or Michael Chapman. If you're watching on any of those channels, man, we would love to continue this conversation. This, to me, is a conversation that needs to continue to happen in the Black community that we don't have enough. And again, you know, she talked about some statistics earlier in the broadcast when we were talking about, you know, the growing aspect of mental health, like you said, Tina, the aspect of African American women are now starting to be the top to the top of suicide. We got to start having these conversations, and we can't be scared to be vulnerable sometimes.
Can't.
So again, man, I not just because my wife is here, I actually truly enjoyed this time. I can't wait for us to do it again. So as always, it's your boy Stephen Thomas of Refine Realty, for Title Tina, for Michael.
National title in the building.
Michael Chapman, the astute home advisor, and my beautiful wife, Latoya Thomas. We will see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.